Manu's Car Reviews. My name is Eric and this is the Mercedes CLS 53 AMG. This is a faster luxury vehicle, but with dwindling sales and the 53 model being the only CLS AMG version on the market, I'm here to figure out why people are not choosing big luxury coupes. And we'll of course start with the specs of this 53 model. So it has an inline 6 with 435 horsepower and 520 Nm of torque. It is paired with a 48 volt really mild hybrid system. It's based on the CLS platform, but the same version, the 53, can also be found in the E-Class. And the E-Class is actually 10,000 euros cheaper. This car starts at about 90,000 euros in Sweden. The car weighs about 1900 2000 kilos, so it's also a heavy vehicle. The engine is paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission and goes down through a 4-wheel drive system. These are the standard rims, so it's not the biggest, the 21-inch AMG rims that you often see, and that has a great positive effect on the ride. And as you can see, with the 53 models, you have round exhausts. In the 63s, for example, you have square exhaust, like in the E63S I reviewed earlier. A fake diffuser on the rear, but you have, with the 53 model, also a nice lip. This paint is of the manufacturer, so this is an extreme extra option. It costs about 3,000 euros extra. It's matte. If you get a scratch on this paint, you won't be able to buff it out because it's just a layer of matte. So if you go through it, it will become glossy. So not only an expensive paint to buy, but an expensive paint to take care of. The exterior looks dangerously close to the CLA. What I like the most is the front. You have the lower front and the AMG vertical grille. Looks really nice in this night package, which darkens out all of these details, especially around the windows. Back to the design, and I'll compare it with the BMW 8 Series and the Audi A7. And personally, I like both the Audi A7 and the BMW 8 Series more than the CLS. Both the Audi and the BMW looks more grown up, and I think they are more timeless in their design. It doesn't mean that the CLS looks bad. We'll look into the rear luggage space, and I'll put up a fact on the screen how large it is. Goes really far in. It's a 40-40-20 configuration to fold down the rear seats. Electrically operated, and you have, even in this car for some reason, you have a towing hook, which I guess you'll never use, but it's there. And even though it's a large vehicle, the coupe design fitted into a sedan shape has had one negative effect, and that is on the rear seats, because my head is touching the roof. It's not that bad that I need to break my neck, but it's noticeable. I have ample knee space, ample foot space, and I even have lower thigh support. I think these are even AMG specific seats, which give you some bolstering on the sides. Unfortunately, I have a really big hump here in the middle for the 4-wheel drive. All the you have an axle that goes to from the front of the engine to the rear to send all the power to the rear wheels. Sitting up here, with me being 187, it is not comfortable. You can do it, but nothing to recommend. But actually, sitting in the rear, you sit fairly lean backwards, and that is important for having a really relaxed ride when you go on long journeys. And the lower thigh support really helps as well. Right, let's sit in the driver's seat. The interior is very similar to the E-Class, not in a bad way. And since this car has the extra option carbon fiber dashboard package, which is about 1,000 euros, 2,000 euros extra, and with the AMG seats, which if you corner, it will blow up to support you if you go to the left. The right side here will blow up to give you some more side support. The AMG steering wheel, which you can change from comfort to sport and sport plus. I have also controls for the exhaust, so you can be in comfort and put the exhaust on. You can hear much louder. And individual suspension controls, and you can even go into manual, so you have paddles behind the steering wheel. The MX system is pretty fast once you get to know it, but using this control here can be really irritating, and it doesn't respond every time. But one major thing that I loved with this interior, the sound system. So much power in it, a lot of bass, soft bass, which I particularly like. I really like it. Stands out in a lot of the premium sound systems out there. You have a digital gauge cluster which can change. Let's see, I press home. I go into styles and showings. I can go, this is classic. I can go into super sport, which is basically the AMG look, speed and the revs and the boost. Looks really cool. As we're on an empty road, I think we'll actually do a launch control. And I looked on the internet and I haven't found how you activate launch control. Often it is that you put it into Sport Plus, maybe turn off traction control, just hold the brakes, hold the throttle, and then you'll get a little message, launch control is activated, and then you just go away. This doesn't happen, but it still holds the brakes and builds boost. So we're in Sport Plus, I hold the brake, I can see the boost. And one thing that is super unique about this, or not unique but almost scary, is during the upshifts you get such a jolt forward. It feels like the car can go faster than it actually is. Like it's down tuned, so the shift comes, there comes a surge of power, jump ahead a bit. Yeah, it's super weird, really difficult to describe. In terms of the daily driving experience, I don't have any major complaints. It is an AMG product, but it doesn't feel scary to approach to start driving. On the opposite, the gearbox, the engine is super smooth. They hardly have any wind noise. The steering is extremely easy to read. The power never surprises you. Just a nice, easy car to drive. Comfortable to sit in with these AMG seats. They're not the full fat seats, but they do hug you. This car has, in terms of the driving aids, it has the lot. It has active cruise control, active lane assist, 360-degree camera. I mean, the bells and whistles. And I don't have any major complaints, apart from on the on-ramps and off-ramps. The lane assist can be a bit so-and-so. But all in all, nothing big to complain about. There are much worse systems than this one. This car is long, it's slow, it's sleek, which means that even though it's quite powerful and being an AMG, it's not that thirsty. If you're careful, you can get it down to under 0.9 liters per 10 kilometer, which is fine. If you're of course hauling ass a bit, driving more quickly, you'll get to over 1.5. But in general, not that thirsty for the weight and for the power that you have. The A45 has 421 horsepower from a 4-cylinder. This has an inline 6 with 2 extra cylinders and 1 extra liter. It produces 14 extra horsepower. Yeah, 14. And it's a lot heavier, but they're completely different cars, meant for completely different things. So this is more for relaxing, and having that power available rather than using it more frequently. The biggest change is actually in Sport Plus, because then the valves open up a lot and you get this. You get literal gunshots. And let's put it in manual. It sounds like literal gunshots. It's very good at changing direction, a bit light perhaps. Let's see how it is on these tighter corners. Very chuckable, and the front just grips. Very impressive. You have so much torque from 3000, so even though, I mean, the max power is reached at about 5,000–6,000 RPM, I mean, with the hybrid system, and max torque is available at about 1,500 RPM. Being around here at 4,000 RPM is, I mean, it's plenty fast. But that exhaust, wow. How they made this happen in 2022 is beyond me. The car is really suited for driving at about 6 temps, 7 temps. More than that, of course it can do. And it grips, but it doesn't feel like the car is made for that. But wow, such a competent, fast car. The four-wheel drive system, the power is just enough to have fun. The weight is masked very well, changes direction, very nice. I mean, what surprised me the most is actually how agile the front is at turning. The initial turning of this car is wow. Super, super impressive. And when you start to get that understeer, you feel it immediately. You loosen up on the steering. Super easy to read, super impressive. Nicely tuned AMG car. The CLS 53 is a really well put together AMG. It has enough power to have fun, but it's refined enough to feel like an AMG experience. The exhaust is amazing, and one of the big upsides with the 53, it sounds much more interesting and has some character compared to the 63 models. I kind of understand why people are looking away from powerful big cars, because they're expensive, and you have way more fun with a smaller car with a powerful engine. And having a big luxurious car, I feel I don't have the necessity to have a big engine coupled with that. Paying 10,000 extra euros for that instead of the E-Class, which has basically the same interior and exactly the same pace and power plant. That is the final nail in the coffin for the CLS. It's too close to the GT 4-door and a lot of the models you can get in the E-Class. That's my final review for the CLS 53 AMG. See you next time.